These are mistake there, my blooper there. That's not treble clef. That's the word staff. One ideal, one big staff, one big clef. Okay, so we would start somewhere on that clef, probably way down low in F minor seventh. I wasn't able to rotate these guys, so it started with C, and then go all the way around to E minor seventh. That would be it. From F minor seventh here, if this was a piano, ideal circle of modal seventh. So we're looking at this concept, and then we have to see how that ideal situation has to be fitted to the reality here. But this is the normal two clef system with the overlap. The overlap is clearly right here. Here's the overlap. More or less. Quite clear there's an overlap right here. Aeolian, Phrygian, and Locrian right there, and the Lydian. These are confusing enough, these disc diagrams. This one's easy because this is simply a circle. It looks like a disc diagram, but once you start getting to these concentric circles, some people find this more helpful, so I make them. Okay? But it's a little hard to see the overlap on this. But this is the reality of the situation with the two clefs. Okay, so the bass clef starts down here and goes up here and shapes. We're going in circles, so now we don't have this because we start the treble clef over here. This is just in shapes. It's not showing actually where they are. This is lower bass clef, so this is the the Lydian super low. All right, so that's in the bass clef. Here's the bass clef. Here's your Lydian super low. It's blue because the bass clef itself is an Aeolian scale. The bass clef segment that we're considering the bass clef is right up here. So we're jumping around a lot. Let's get back to the important stuff here. You know, it can be explained here once again. Way down here we have a +0 offset here because the treble clef is also an F major seventh in this drawing, in this approach. Of course, in this drawing, they all agree. The staff drawing, the piano drawing, the note stack drawing, the disc drawings, they all agree. And when we get to when I make 524, I'm going to put it onto fretboards again. But we have to move along and catch up the piano information. You might see if you check my Facebook group, Andy's Free Guitar Chart videos on Facebook. You check the link below. Take a moment, like, subscribe. Tell your friends about Andy's Free Guitar Chart videos on YouTube and Facebook. Kind of getting back into piano because, you know, I've done so much piano in my life, you know. Okay? No matter how you slice it, it's always a modal scale. The white keys, at least. Notice the keyboard has gotten longer because in this latest scheme diagram, we're comparing the ideal situation with the two clef system with the overlap. In other words, with the ideal situation, we're taking it to the extremes. Okay, we're taking things to the extremes. Going back to this wonderful diagram here, are actually colored in the notes. So these are the same colors. Okay, so These colors that you see up here are these colors down here. I tried to get AI to color the notes on the guitar, let's say, the free AI I had originally. Now I have a little bit better AI because I joined Microsoft Personal, which is $10 a month, and I have better AI. But I haven't really pushed the envelope on that. I told it to give me colored notes on the staff, and you know, it gives me notes all over the place, like they're balloons solo, you know, going up and down, or it's raining notes or something. You know, it would really take a super duper amount of detail to describe to AI to color the notes of a piece of music. We'll stay a little longer to explain this. So we have all 88 keys, but it's really 92 or 94. I've gone ahead and I've even drawn this. Two more, bottom of next level. Okay, and that level, this is unused here, because remember, this is reality now with the two clefs, so we're ending on Aeolian there. Down here with these three guys is if we just continued the bass clef from Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, Locrian, Ionian, Dorian, and Phrygian. There they are. There's your 7 right there. Beautiful. Perfect. That's what those are. That's why this doesn't quite line up. But these two notes, there is even another note there in the unused. Okay, so the perfect system has one more note than you'll see on any piano. You heard it here. You heard that note. That's so funny. Okay, so I don't know, maybe when you can get a clarinet to crack one of those high timbers. So what I've done is, let's look at the easiest clef. Let's look at the bass clef. It's an Aeolian. So I went over to our note stack. Okay, so I brought the note stack over here so we can look at it. So we've got Aeolian to Aeolian. We have the lower C here. With the string shapes, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where they are. 6/7 root, we've got it in a number of places. If your fret nut is here, that's the A string, 6/7 root. We have one down here. We have one here. We have one here. No, that's B. We have an octave up here. You know, they're everywhere. We're not worried about we're not fitting it to the guitar properly here, but bass clef nails this down to right here. Okay? The two string shapes we would use for 6/7 root 2 3 4 5 6 are now easy to find here. It starts on 6. So I brought it down here. 6/7 root 2 3 4 5 6. 6/7 root 2 3 4 5. And then we just add a 6. Because we're using this stack to perfectly and evenly each and every modal major 7th scale, major 7th chord is defined by this stack here. So I've brought those pieces of that stack here, and now we don't have to deal with letters quite yet, but let's look at the Aeolian. Now remember, in the bass clef, the Mixolydian and the Aeolian, or the lower bass mighty clef and the bass mighty clef, remember the mighty clefs, are the F-A-C-E notes of the treble clef. They're the in-between line notes, the four of them, that make a major scale, a major seventh chord. So we look at the two of these guys here. Remember, these guys fit short string shapes, so we've got AG and we've got ED. That's all that is. AG and ED, and this is GE and this is DC. Okay, so now we have these two double string shapes instead of three single string shapes. Because you could look at this as three single string shapes, right? Could you not? Let's look at the other chart now. So our Mixolydian and our Aeolian here in this one was A, E, C. So over here we had G, D, and A. 6/7 root for G, 2/3/4 for D, and A 5/6. So here's the short A. So starting with the 6, down here G, D, and A. Now we're not going straight up the strings. We're doing it with two double string shapes on two string approach. Because we want a nice even way to describe, to label these, so we can play them at will. It's also important with modal scales to be able to play away from the fret nut and not to go over one, the way you might see in the D string shape stack. It's the D shape would go, then we'd have to go over one, like that. But we want to play away from the fret nut, we can just go, okay? So we just played away from the fret nut. So playing the modals, we want to play away from the fret nut. So if we're going to do an A, we could do it the old way, would be the short string shapes. Okay? 6/7 root 2 3 4 5 6 7 root 2 3 4 5 6 7 root. Okay, that's your sixth minor in the G, E minor shape. Okay, but diatonically